How's it going, YouTube? Got FourthStarTCG here, and today I have a pretty fun video for you guys. Um, at the suggestion of one of my friends, Winters from E4 Instagram, the E4 Discord, etc., I'm going to be showing off the top 10 underrated cards in my collection. The cards that I believe are underrated. This isn't undervalued, but undervalued will play a part in the sort of calculation of what I think is underrated. Some of these are single cards, some of these are classes of cards. As you know, it's difficult to pick out of everything that I own the top 10 cards that I think are underrated. But I have a lot of sort of series of cards that I think are underrated. So we're going to crack into it right away with number 10, which is the full art megas, especially the full art megas and primals from Roaring Skies and Primal Clash. Mega Rayquaza EX full art. This is an incredibly, I think, undervalued and underrated card right now. It is just beautiful. I remember when this came out, the hype that was surrounding this card. In Japanese, it was a lot of money, probably one of the most expensive cards in Japanese when it just came out. You know, you were paying $80 for a pack fresh copy right when this card came out, and I happily paid that price because I thought, you know, such an amazing card. But just the artwork is amazing. It's so beautiful, and I really think people aren't taking a look at these cards recently as just being so amazing, and they really are. Especially the primals, so the full art Primal Kyogre and the Primal Groudon. I don't have the Primal Groudon. If you have one and would like to sell it to me for a large amount of money, please let me know. I'll pay you pretty well for it. But these, I think I paid like last year $50 for this Primal Kyogre, and I think the population is maybe 6. It's definitely less than 10 in PSA 10. And this is just, it's such a beautiful card. The full art megas are fairly easy to grade, especially from the later sets. But the primals, Mega Rayquaza, there aren't a bunch of these floating around out there in PSA 10, and the prices are fairly low, and you're just getting so much value for your money. And, you know, I really don't think people are paying as much attention to these cards as they should, and they are just beautiful. So that's going to be number 10. Number 9, so that was sort of a class of cards. Number 9 is a single card, and it is the Test Tube Mewtwo from Shining Legends. Both in Japanese and English, I think this card is the greatest artwork in the Sun and Moon era. It's so amazing. The beautiful artwork from Mitsuhiro Arita. I just think, like, no matter what, this card is going to be underrated. I think was a lot of hype around it when it came out, but it sort of died down recently. You can still pick up this card for, you know, I think in Japanese you're looking at maybe 15 to 20 bucks or something. And it's an amazing card. The texture on the Mewtwo, I don't know if we can, yeah, we'll get that in the light there. So it's got like that shining texture on it. It's really cool. It's such a unique card. There's never really been anything like this. I think there are several sort of unique cards in this underrated list. I think sort of as time goes on, people are going to realize that these one-off unique cards are really just amazing, and people are sleeping on them a lot now. I think in several years the response will be quite different to these cards. I think we'll see both a jump in interest and a jump in value. But really, really just love this card. The artwork is, as I said, the best artwork in the Sun and Moon era by far. I think some of the Tag Team GX special arts might give it a run for its money, but still just a beautiful, beautiful card here at number 9. At number 8, we have another class of cards, and it is the Level X's graded from Diamond and Pearl and Platinum. I think these level X's are underrated in general. I really want to focus on the early level X's just from Diamond and Pearl, and also like I think Secret Wonders. So there were very few level X's in these sets. So I think Diamond and Pearl had 3. Secret Wonders I think maybe had 2. I know you're not guaranteed a level X from a Secret Wonders box. In Diamond and Pearl, you usually got 1 per box. So 1 ultra rare per box. And when there's 3 of them, you know, you're not pulling a lot. So these are very difficult to pull, even harder to pull than EXs, and EXs were very difficult. So just very, very difficult to get one of these cards. I think technically it's like harder than base set Charizard and stuff to pull a specific level X that you want. So I think especially these early Diamond and Pearl, I have this one because this I actually pulled myself. The video's up on the channel if you want to go all the way back and search for that. I think it was in one of those Diamond and Pearl power packs. But yeah, that was amazing, and really happy to have this card professionally graded. Did come back with a mint 9 grade, which is very nice. But yeah, I really think these early level X's are underrated, especially the Diamond and Pearl and Secret Wonders, but definitely the level X's in general as well are also underrated. All right, so that was what? Number 8, now into number 7. This is sort of another class of cards, but this one card especially, the stained glass birds from the Hidden Fates Elite Trainer box. I think this is the best bang for your buck in terms of a graded card that you can get today. These sell for $25 to $30 all day long. There's a significant amount of supply. You're not going to have any difficulty getting one from a reputable seller, and it's going to come in beautiful condition. I just think for $30, having a card like this in your collection with the just mind-blowingly amazing artwork is something that you cannot pass up. And even with that, I think the value of this card, especially, this is one of the ones where, you know, you've got the ultimate combination of amazing artwork, just killer card style, and very, very attainable value. A lot of the very good-looking Pokemon cards are fairly difficult to obtain. The value might be up there significantly, maybe closer to $100. People may not have the money to drop on that, but I think $30 for this card is something that any collector can swing, and it's such an amazing use of your money. I would highly recommend it, just to have this card in your possession. It being a promo as well, just beautiful. But this does also extend to the special art promos that have gone out, like the tin promos, the Garchomp Giratina tin promo, beautiful artwork, very low price. Same with the Reshiram Charizard. You know, the Rainbow Rare is a ton of money, but the promo, which has better artwork, is significantly less. Even things like the Charizard GX full art from Burning Shadows, the promo, you know, same artwork as the hyper rare, but still much cheaper. I think these promos from the Sun and Moon era, but especially the Moltres Zapdos Articuno, are incredibly underrated. Now on to number 6, I believe. Number 6 is the Hyper Metal Chain Deck, or Phantom Forces Dialga EX. Again, this is an example of one of those one-off cards that I think people are really sleeping on. Both interest and prices are low on this card. You can pick up a PSA 10. I think the Japanese, I mean, it's not, you know, $30 like the Moltres Zapdos Articuno, but you can probably get one for under $100. And this was very hard to pull, especially in Japanese. You got one in about every 6 decks, and I know because I opened up a case of decks in order to pull this card. So I think it's incredibly underrated. I think as time goes on, people are really going to, again, recognize that these one-off cards, you know, there's only one silver full art that's ever been printed. They've done a lot more with the golds, but only one like this. And I think it just works so well with Dialga. That artwork is so beautiful. And people are really sleeping on this card, but not for long, I promise. Alright, so number 5 is, again, another class of cards, but one card that I've picked that really represents it well is lower priced, and when I say lower priced, I mean maybe under $115, $125 English EX cards in PSA 10. So for example, I have this beautiful Regice EX that I recently purchased for around, I think, all in with tax and shipping, it was about $80. And this is just so beautiful. You get a gem mint card from 16 years ago for under $100. It is amazing. PSA 10 EX cards are really shooting up in value right now, but it has the rising tide has not lifted all boats yet, and I think some of these just beautiful cards, like look at that shard hollow on Regice there, so beautiful, just such an amazing card style pattern. And you can pick these up, you know, the Registeel and the Regirock, again, under $125. The value proposition and the interest is very low on these cards right now, and I really think that the interest will pick up in the future. But again, just beautiful cards. Now on to number 4, and this is again another class of cards, but something that I picked to really exemplify them are these 3 cards, and it is PSA 10 black and white full arts. These are different than the other cards in that the value is significantly higher. You're going to be paying at minimum $100 up to several $100s for these cards, but I think what really makes them underrated is the interest in the population report. You know, the population for these cards is, you know, for the Groudon here, the Kyogre as well, less than 10. And these are just beautiful cards. They're extremely hard to grade. I think the 10 rate for these is very low when you compare it to other cards. There are some with more 10s, like this beautiful Ho-Oh EX. But again, these cards, you know, they do not come up for sale very often. When they do, they're scooped up right away by the few people who do collect them. But I think right now, if you see one on auction, you see one available for a good price, definitely pick it up. These cards aren't getting easier to grade. If there have only been, you know, less than 10 copies graded a 10 after 8 years or something, that's something that you should definitely look at if you want to pick them up soon. But yeah, just beautiful cards. Really thinking these are very underrated. I've got a few more outside of these, but these are just sort of my favorites that I picked, the ones that I think are most underrated. And I got these for what I would think is a fairly good deal, but I still paid over $100 for all of them. So, moving on, I think we're down to number 3 now. And number 3 is another, again, class of cards, but still very important. And again, I've selected cards that I think exemplify these fairly well, and it is Mint 9 English EX Series cards. So English EX is skyrocketing right now. I've just been watching these Rocket Suicune. In PSA 10, one was sitting at about $250, $275 for a while. It sold, and then a couple other ones were sold, and now it's up to $500. It's doubled in price in, you know, several weeks, which is quite crazy to me. So you've got stuff like these Rockets EXs, which are jumping in value astronomically. English EX cards in general, you know, doubling in value. You know, I bought the Fire Red Leaf Green Charizard EX back in August for $530, and it's doubled in value over the last 6 months. So these cards are skyrocketing, but Mint 9s have really not gone anywhere. And as we've seen with WotC over the last, you know, several months as well, is that once those 10s jump out of the range of a lot of people, Mint 9s become the option that many people will go for. So these Mint 9s on English EX Series cards, you know, Mint 9s, they're an astronomically small difference from a PSA 10. Many cards are sort of right on the barrier there between 9 and 10. Mint 9s will usually have a small flaw or something, but really just for the value proposition, you're still getting a very nice mint condition card. And mint 9s, I think, if you want these English EX cards in mint condition, you don't want to pay the hundreds to thousand of dollars that a lot of these cards go for. Then picking up mint 9s definitely going to be the more sort of smart and logical option. If Spock collected Pokemon cards, he would collect mint 9s, as they're the best value proposition for the money. I don't collect a lot of 9s just because I'm not very logical, but that is the sort of best way that you can get bang for your buck. Now coming in at number 2 is Japanese Delta Species Hollows. English as well, but Japanese, I think the artwork on Japanese is much better, just because of the continuity between the Pokemon and the border there. The artwork on Delta Species Hollows is so amazing. I can pick these Delta Species Hollows up in mint condition for less than $10 each all day long. It's just so beautiful. Cards are so amazing. Stuff like this beautiful Tyranitar, stuff like this Gyarados, and the disconnect between graded prices and ungraded prices is fairly significant as well. So there's some interest there for graded, not so much for ungraded. If you can snap them up in mint condition and grade them yourself, again, just beautiful. And while there are some that are sort of more sought after, like the Charizard from Miracle Crystal, you're still going to be getting these beautiful cards like this Gyarados and Tyranitar for very, very good prices. And again, this is something that I would, I think this is a great grading project to do yourself. They're not very hard to find. You can snap them up in mint condition. Usually they'll be in lots and stuff. And you can grade them all yourself, and you'll get a significant portion in 10s, I think. Japanese EX cards are becoming a bit more difficult to find in 10s, but these Delta Species Hollows are fairly available. So I think for the artwork, the value, and the return that you get in terms of just sheer collecting enjoyment, these cards are incredibly underrated. And last but certainly not least, the number one class of cards that I believe is most underrated, and again, I've picked up some of the best examples for this, is, sure you guys could see this coming, PSA 10 Japanese EX series cards. And just as an example, I have the Umbreon and Espeon from Golden Sky Silvery Ocean as an example here. These cards, if you want a gem mint copy of these in English, you're paying a lot of money. If you wanted both of these cards, I don't even know what the market value is. I know if that you wanted to buy them outright on eBay, you'd be paying over $2,000 for each of these cards, or for both of these cards combined. For Japanese, you can probably get each of them for less than $100. So yeah, $200 versus over $2,000. You're getting the same artwork. I know exactly which one I would go for. The Japanese, they're so beautiful, and you're getting the same artwork, the same card type. It's just a different language, and the value proposition is just so significant here. And as the English ones go up in value, I think the Japanese will eventually follow. These cards are not easy to find in 10s. So I would recommend for these buying them already graded. But again, just the value proposition is so much in your favor, I would think, in terms of getting a card with great artwork, great provenance, great significance in the hobby at an amazing price, an amazing value for you. I think I bought this Umbreon back in, goodness, several years ago. I think I paid like $35 for it or something ridiculous. And it stayed in my collection ever since because I think it's such an amazing card. But even today, like, you can buy these for $100 all day online. and it's just amazing. Definitely something I would consider to be very worth your time and worth your while. So there we go. Those are my top 10 underrated cards or underrated classes of cards that I have in my collection. I hope you guys enjoyed. Feel free to let me know what you think are some of the most underrated cards. Again, not necessarily just undervalued, but of course value plays a significant part in the calculations. So thank you very much for watching. Be sure to like and subscribe, and stick around for more videos.